from Union Station down to the U.S. Capitol, bearing Constitution, just one street. There's always a border street. That border street of, what is that? That is the National Mall grounds. And then from there, connecting back to the back of the White House. Everything within that outline border, every street, alley, business, store, our team mandate. We are different, what we call beasts down in downtown DC bid, because we take on most of, if not, well, we take on 98% of the responsibilities, where we don't rely solely on DC government to do a lot of the cleaning and spaces. Dealing with the unhoused, our team, which we are hands-on, and we are heavily involved with the unhoused, as in engaging daily, from cleaning, keeping an eye on their well-beings. Downtown bid stands for our core values, which is safe, clean, and a friendly, positive environment. So our SAMs where we take them all through, we have about 68 to 70 SAMs, and they're dispatched each day throughout all of those zones, and we have them to get to know the unhoused individuals. So speaking on unhoused, I just want to I would say piggyback off of what Kelly stated. We use the word unhoused because we want to be respectful to all, and everybody has a situation. So we look at unhoused as you could be unhoused couch surfing. I mean, if it's your relative, it doesn't matter. Your couch surfing is not your house. So we provide the sources and give you the respect, along with having to know those individuals, where we know them by name, whether it's their AKA name or their government name. But we want them to feel comfortable, because hey, you only get to loosen up or open up from the person that you see every day. And they see our SAMs as boots on the ground every day, have the conversations. We serve the meals at our day center, where we're dealing with both in-house and what we call outreach in the field for engaging. The ones that engage in the street, they bring back that information to us, where they see either influx of new faces or the same faces, but we look at their well-beings. They engage to say, hey, this individual don't seem like himself. Where we've seen him around, we know where most individuals usually reside, where we try to talk with them to get them help, and partner with some of the government resources to make sure that we get hands-on or maybe emergency situations right away. But what we have, go ahead.
I actually want to ask you a question. I just want to try and give everyone 5 minutes, but think about this if you don't mind. The bid, as we know, is partly supported by business, Business Improvement District. And I've been to 2 of the conferences that you've had, and I did notice that the business people who were there were not particularly empathetic towards seeming in their comments and in their kind of stupid questions. But that is not what I get from you.
No,
but
well, we try to educate them.
Yeah.
We try to educate them to let them know that, they're people. And what we do know, a lot of situations happen where we have seen cases that we take back to the businesses, where we do a monthly call to what we call our stakeholders, so the people who own the building, and then the other people who rent from the individuals who own the building, where we try to educate them to say, because we service both of the individuals, so we try to find the common grounds, and then through our day service center is where they go for house, haircuts, they get the mail there, they get also health care, the individuals get there, and we're now starting where we try to activate these parks where they're not just sitting around. Because think about it, everybody go through their ups and downs, highs and lows. We may look the part, dress the part, but actually inner is where we feel. You can hide it all you want. Eventually it comes out. So I'm saying this to say, for the type of ways that we have our staff and our people engaging, that they come back to us, is to say that we to make sure that that person don't go to a deeper slump to try to pick them up, especially around the days like the holidays, coming up to Father's Day. We know people don't have their loved ones. And most individuals, where they want to go and hide from the people who know them, because they feel like, I'm not worthy anymore because I hit the slump. And that's
Exactly.
what we
That's
try to
very
do,
safe.
to
Exactly.
engage with these people to pick them up. So we try to educate the stakeholders to let them know that unhoused individuals form this pattern of a group cluster of people because that's a safe haven. Most don't sleep at night. That's why you see them during the day, that they may sleep on the streets because they figure, I'm not gonna be harmed there.
Thank you for this empathetic
Mhm.
approach. I really appreciate you. Just want to move on, give everyone a chance to speak. Alan, do you need a question?
I'm sorry.
Mindy?
Yeah, hi, thank you both very much. Okay, keeping in contact with people is really difficult and important. You say people receive mail here. How often? That assumes they can get there to pick it up?
Well, we're open from 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, and from 11 to 5 on Saturdays. So the individuals come to the location to receive.
Okay. What is it then? I would write my name. What address would I use?
They would use that day center, that's why it would come there.
Okay.
The 1313 New York Avenue.
Okay, so.
And a lot of incidents where family are looking for individuals and they hear through centers, through word of mouth, they would come there, but at that location, we would have to really be careful who we give
Yeah.
that information to because we don't know why they want them.
Yeah.
When they come in that location, it's a safe haven where we don't just turn them over to the police or anything. We have to, it goes above other individuals to find out why people are looking for them. But in some cases, they have been reunited with their family who have been looking for them.
So people, I don't want to take too much. People will send through the US Postal Service, XYZ,
Yes.
care of?
Yes,
I
delivered.
believe you can be registered at the library too.
No,
No
we
longer?
do not accept people's mail at the library.
Oh.
I thought people were allowed to register to vote, to have this as their place of residence, no?
No.
Okay, all right, no, stop saying that. Let's move on to Alan, please.
Can I ask just one question?
Yes.
Do other bids also have the same kind of wonderful service for homeless people?
Not so many bids have them.
You're the only one.
What's
you
the
have.
I don't
downtown
think we're the
day
only
center?
one. I
Oh,
think,
the
the mayor has
All of
put,
the city pays for.
the mayor has put a couple of other
I
places
see.
up, but downtown DC did, since I came on in July of 2019, I've been working in that capacity, both out, interior and exterior for, we even did, the meal services for the unhoused for 2 years, where we blocked off, Vermont Avenue for meal services during the, what was that, during the pandemic.
Right.
All right, Alan.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm honored. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, but mostly I'm going to talk about the organization I serve with. My name is Alan, and I fell into the storm of homelessness in 2004. Although, you know, mental illness is not in the top 5 causes of people falling into homelessness, but that's what got me. I'm a severe introvert, despite what you see me sitting up here looking people in the eyes and all that kind of stuff. And I have major, major clinical depression. Born with it and suffered with it all my life. And eventually it took all from me. I lost my home, lost my marriage, lost my job, lost everything. Then lost a second home. I was searching for housing through the VA for 2 years. And then along came an organization called Friendship Place. Friendship Place got my name on a Monday, and that Friday I was in an apartment. I don't know how they did it. I don't care how they did it, just know that they did it. You know, my career before, I started out in the Air Force. I was in nuclear security, and when I came out of the Air Force with that clearance, I could get any job in law enforcement I wanted. Back then, clearances were costing $65,000. So they would snatch you up if you had a clearance. I had a very high clearance, very high security clearance. Sensitive top secret is what I came out of the Air Force with because of the news. I helped protect 2 presidents. I served 5 years as a police firearms and police tactics instructor down in Flatsea. A very, very committed. I worked with the Marshal Service, and I tell people I had keys. And then through my illness, I lost all those keys, and I thought I would never get them back again. I'm glad that wasn't the end of the story. I came to Friendship Place in 2010. They gave me housing, but that's just the first step. Whenever I speak about me getting housing, I make sure to sing the praises of our case management team. They're the ones that do the really hard work, of helping people rebuild their lives. If you look at our logo, it says Friendship Place. Ending homelessness, rebuilding lives. Ending homelessness is easy. You put somebody in an apartment. But rebuilding their lives is work. And I needed to rebuild my life. I could no longer do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do what I was doing before. So I had to become different in the way I interacted with the world. Those keys I was talking about, one of the first things Friendship Place did as a volunteer was to give me the keys to the office. Come and go as you need to. If you don't think some keys to a door means a whole lot, I'm kind of glad you don't, but that means you lost your keys. So I'm glad you don't. But let me tell you, keys are the thing. I've been with Friendship Place for 14 years. I'm on staff now. I've served on the board. I started out as a volunteer. And that organization helped me learn how to be that different person. I'm telling you the honest truth. If my mother could see me doing this, she would say, "Who is that and what are you doing with my son?" Because I was not able to do this. For most of my life, most of my cousins, uncles, aunts had never heard me speak above a whisper. I spoke at my father's funeral, and I spoke so everybody could hear me. And people came and said, "Alan, where'd that voice come from?" Today I use that voice to help others. I didn't get from the storm of homelessness to sitting right here by myself. I had a lot of help and a lot of blessings. Blessings aren't meant to stuff in your pocket and keep it for yourself. They're meant to be spread around. And because I was helped, it's my responsibility to turn around and help somebody else get out of that storm. I do that by talking to groups about homelessness, giving them what the real story is about homelessness. Everybody knows those words, but not what the true story is. They have questions, but not the right person to ask. I'm that person to ask. I've never been at a position for more than 7 years. Because I worked as a part of a team, but I never felt like I was part of a team. When 5 o'clock hit, I was gone. I didn't think about it no more. I had jobs that I'd turn the corner, see the building, get sick, and go home. That hasn't happened once at Friendship Place. Friendship Place not only changed my life, they saved my life. When I connected with Friendship Place, I was still in heavy-duty anti-suicide counseling because I suffered homelessness twice. And after that second time hit me, I gave up. And I made a plan to jump out of a window. But something hit me, I think it was God, shook me. Didn't want me to die. And I went and asked for help. First time in my life. I didn't want my family, particularly my 2 kids, to find out their father was dead and was the rest of their lives. Why did he come home? Why did he do that? And I'll tell you something else, and I'm gonna shut my face. That was the first time ever in my life that I had done something concerning someone else. Before in my life, it was me. My boss, John Michelle, told me something, says we go from me to we. So me is, all about me, me. But we grow to we when we start thinking about, looking at, and caring about others. So I'm in the we part of my life now. I thank you very much for your attention. I thank you for letting me share that.
Awesome.
Thank you. Janice is next, but Commissioner Williams has to leave. And does anyone have a question now for him before he leaves? I mean, we can all stay in touch, but Mindy?
Yeah, others can chime in. What about the difference in racial and ethnic backgrounds? How did that play among the homelessness in their encampments and in the shelter?
Well, is that just for,
Can I ask this guy?
yes, we'll just, because he has to leave.
Guys, I would like to say, as someone who really cares about this issue, I am flat out impressed with what the city is doing, and why don't I know it? I think we're hiding what we're doing under Bushel. Now, you're an ANC commissioner. I mean, we ought to be yucking up this thing instead of talking about a football stadium. We ought to be talking about taking care of the people in the city. And you are the ambassadors for it. And please don't say, oh, people don't want to hear about it. We do want to hear about it. We want to hear good stories about it and successes. Because
Thank
it's
you.
not intractable. We think it's hopeless. We're told it's hopeless. We're just gonna hide people.
We're fighting.
No, it's not hopeless. Look at, today has been inspiring. The stories that we've heard today are inspiring.
Okay, so it's not a question, it's a mandate.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, but you get the question.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have something for Kelly before he leaves?
I just asked a question.
But could you answer my question, like, what are you doing to raise the profile?
So right now, I sit on the board of Covenant House.
Oh,
So
okay.
Covenant House is for youth homelessness.
Okay.
And I also try to advocate across the city. I'm
Good.
also
And you're here
looking-
today.
I'm here today.
Right.
I'm also looking to try to find areas where we can actually build some housing for homeless individuals, because I don't think we can develop our way out of homelessness.
Yeah.
Because developers are in the for-profit business, they're not in the non-profit or homeless business. But there are opportunities and ways that we can do that, where we can use public money and or private money to be able to do that with. And I think the public-private partnerships that we have are for being able to build affordable, quote-unquote, housing. But when I was homeless, I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything, so all I could think about was survival. So you can't put me in a position where you're gonna try and tell me, here's something you can try to afford if I don't have a job and I'm not in that position. So stories like Alan's, where he went in on Monday and got something by Friday, is, I know, unique and possibly, something that was out of nothing but God. And because of the fact that when you do go into homelessness, I was not crazy when I went into homelessness, but I went through depression when I got there. Didn't even know I was depressed. Had no clue what depression was until I ended up in Howard Hospital checking myself in after I tried to commit suicide. So when I walked to Howard University and said, I just tried to commit suicide, and they brought me in and talked to me, then I started understanding what depression was. I thought I was just tired all day. I thought I was just sleeping because I didn't have anywhere else to go. I didn't know that was a sign of depression. I didn't know all the things that I was dealing with were signs of depression that literally could have gotten me to the point where Alan was getting ready to jump out of the
3
window.
months
Yeah.
before it was evicted.
Yeah, me too. And so it's those areas where those things, the mental health part of homelessness and just life, is absolutely critical. If you had come to me and told me I was depressed, I would have laughed at you. I'm like, you crazy, right? But until I got to that point where I'm sitting there taking all these pills, I didn't realize that. So sometimes it takes the moment to have to sit us down and just, provide something else, like the shelter or the job or just the conversation, whatever it could be, to just help us come from here to here, where now you can communicate with us, meet us at our point of need. All right, that's the best thing I can do. Spiritually, meet them at their point of need. Because if we meet them at their point of need, then you can be able to help them for what their true, whatever is always it's not what you see, like I think Eloise said. It's not necessarily what you see. Like I told you, I didn't go in looking like I was homeless or acting like I was homeless because I didn't know what that meant, but I knew what I saw on the street. And that's what everyone else sees. They see what homelessness is on the street. But I was still walking around in my jacket or my pants. You know, I wasn't, trying to be dirty or shabby. I tried to, find me a bathroom that I can wash up in, or if I, took a shower at the friend's house. I had to be.
But
I
how
had to
long
be.
could he
And
keep
I
going,
Exactly.
doing that?
And
That's the
so
thing.
that was the process of going through, and each moment created another brick of depression that I didn't even realize I was building.
Could somebody?
Is it 5 minutes late?
I can tell
Yes,
you what.
ma'am.
I was gonna say something in response to her question, and if she wants, I can answer it.
Oh,
Did you want me to answer it?
Yes.
Okay, sure. So I can kind of answer it because I'm not either black nor white, and so I don't really fit the stereotypes of people that are homeless. And I have definitely struggled with it off and on because of losing my job and also domestic violence issues. And I can say that I had a horrible time trying to get help from anywhere. People look at me and think that I don't belong. I've been asked questions like, am I a social worker on behalf of a client? People think I'm lying. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And it's really disheartening because, this is not a color or race issue. Bad things can happen to anyone. I am not crazy. I lost my job. That can happen to anyone. I don't have any family in this area. I did not have U.S. citizen children, so I wasn't eligible for any benefits as an immigrant. And people really didn't get it. I had
Thank
one
you,
person
and I
trying to
apologize.
offer me an apartment that rented for something like $3,000 in Chevy Chase, and got really mad at me when I said there was no way on earth I could afford it, and it was actually more rent than I had ever paid in my life to live any place, even when I did have a job. And so it just, I'm not saying that everyone is like this, but I'm just saying I encounter it the majority of the time. But it is when people look at you like you don't need help, why are you here?
Yeah. I
I
appreciate
want
all
to
this.
add something in 30 seconds.
Okay, I just want my lady Janice.
Okay, I just said,
You
I
got
know.
a chance to
I've
speak.
heard the word homeless and homeless persons all day. We don't do that anymore because that puts an identity on them and it puts a stigma on them. People experience homelessness, be it for 3 days or 3 years. It's not their identity, it's not who they are, it's an experience. So we changed, I tried to hold my tongue, but I just heard it too much. So we say experiencing homelessness today. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you. I stand
Sorry about
corrected.
that.
No, true enough.
No, it wasn't just you.
But I spoke the most. This is Janice Farabee. I love her and want her to speak.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much, Robin, and thank you for the panelists as well. I'm Janice Farabee, native New Yorker, retired nonprofit professional. I'm an author, speaker, award-winning female empowerment expert, featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show, 2003 Essence Award winner.
A little louder.
Yeah, no problem. 2003 Essence Award winner, former ANC 2FO8, former Ward 2 committee woman, two-time fallopian tube cancer survivor, blessed with 35 years in long-term recovery. 35 years ago, this summer, I was wandering the streets of New York with my ex-husband after having lived uptown, downtown, White Plains. We were couch surfing, so you talked about that. So experiencing homelessness doesn't mean, again, you have to be around the fire barrel. And so after all of the successes I had, we were selling drugs, dealing with the South American drug cartel, and we became our best customers. So, and because I spoke well, looked well, I was the first African American models editor for 17 magazine, and my undergraduate degree was initially in pre-med and then fashion. I could steal out of Neiman Marcus, Henri Bendel's, and Bloomingdale's without, first I worked there and stole. They didn't have the buttons, tags, but I was in denial for a long time. But coming to DC, my ex-husband and I lost our jobs, we lost our homes, but most of all, we lost our dignity and self-respect. Family didn't know what was going on, they couldn't believe, and friends, you know, not you, Janice, you know, I was a 4.0 student, all that kind of stuff, you know. So when I came here, I went to treatment, lived in an Oxford house, which it's a sober living facility, and but again, 35 years. I will celebrate, God willing, 35 years on October 1st. Thank you. The day after my 70th birthday, and I am extremely grateful for the journey. And I talk about, for me, the wealth of a nation, the wealth of a city, the wealth of the world is measured by the well-being of its least represented individuals. We can and we must do better. And when you ask the question, this city has a lot of money to spend on a lot of things for a lot of people with a lot of money. And they need to do a better job in making it mandatory for developers to put in their kitty $1 million a year, every single one of you all, that you spend on individuals experiencing homelessness, to the services. They get away with murder. They get away with murder in this city. There are places around the country. When I was also in 2016 the project director for the DBH CABI grant, which is the cooperative agreement to benefit homeless individuals. And doing the research, there are places around the country that have little villages, places where people cannot work, but live in small little, you know, single, tiny houses, things like that. There are places and things around the country, and this city needs to do a better job in looking at and doing. There's a lot of land, a lot of different places. People may not want to live there because they say there's, you know, this is, but almost beggars can't be choosy. If you've got a home and place to sleep and whatnot, you can live there, but this city needs to do better as far as I'm concerned. It's just my 2 cents. It needs to do a better job in where it places its money. And again, the wealth of a nation, the wealth of a city is measured by the well-being of those who are underserved. I was also the lead for the Downtown DC Bids Weekend Homeless Services, working with Eloise, and we were out there on Vermont Avenue, rain, shine, winter, cold, we were, you know, feeding individuals, 99 degrees, you know, we moved from Vermont Avenue, we moved to McPherson Park, and then we moved to the day center. We have a partnership now with Asbury, well, they did have a partnership with Asbury United Methodist Church at 11th and K, but there are different things that have been done, and I'm also a member of Metropolitan AME Church, 1518 M Street. We were the church that won the Proud Boys, you know, for burning the flag, the 2.8 million, and we now have, we own the rights to the logo. But I am on the outreach committee because we are proposing to build a facility for formerly unhoused veterans. And just to answer the question, what can we advocate for, what can individuals do? I think for libraries, it's a balancing act, because the library is a public space, it's not a social service agency. And even though, you know, when you take a look at what's going on in California, San Francisco is probably one of the most progressive, where they have the van that comes up where you can take showers, you've got, you know, case managers, you've got this, that, the other. I'm also a peer support specialist and certified recovery coach, have been for 10 years with a partner healthcare organization that we partner with Whitman Walker and with Unity around substance use disorder, individuals experiencing substance use. But again, the balance, you know, where you're starting to see libraries when it's cold, folks come in, when it's hot, folks come in. But making sure that you don't burden the folks in the library who are librarians, who are here to work and want to teach about books and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not a case manager, and I'm not a case manager, and you should not have to be. That's not what you wanted to do. So there should be more emphasis on supporting those individuals, training them, letting them know. I shouldn't have to de-escalate. Well, I should know how to de-escalate, period. But if I'm a librarian, I'm not a case manager. There should be, if you're going to have individuals who are unhoused coming in, then advocate, this is where people advocate for funding that can provide those services by professionals who do that type of work, and I know that there's professionals here that do some of that, but there needs to be more of that. And also, we do a disservice. One of the things that I truly believe, and this is also what I shared and talked about with the encampments, and which is one of the reasons the stakeholders, if you are unhoused and you leave your trash and all this kind of stuff, for me, we do a disservice to individuals who are unhoused. They're not animals, they're not ignorant. Teach them how to keep that space. It should not be a pigsty. When I walk through McPherson, when I walk through any encampment, it should not be a mess. So that we should, even if we're coming back, this is coming back into, independent living. One of the things that we could do, because it's a disservice to allow people to live like that, we should be able to allow them to learn, if you come into a library, life skills courses, how to keep yourself clean, how to clean up after yourself. There's a trash can right over there. Why is all this crap right here? So those are the kinds of things, for me, that citizens can lobby for. Stakeholders also. If you are a stakeholder, you've got an encampment, if the individuals are gonna be there until, because they say you can't move them here, this time of year, you can't move. Treat them like the human beings that they are, dignity and respect, and give them the tools that they're gonna need when they go back into independent living, because the worst thing that you can do, the last thing I'm gonna say is, put someone in housing first, and they are out of their minds, and then they wreak havoc. I have somebody wreak havoc in the buildings that they move into and have no one taking care of them. That's a whole nother story about case management and DBH and whatnot. But give them the proper tools and skills while they are still dealing with all this stuff, so that when they do move, they're not putting their trash in the hallway. They're not screaming and hollering, that they are, and that they can feel dignified, because the worst thing for them also is they become ostracized. Then the narrative is, oh, you don't want us in the building. That is not true. I don't mind who lives in the building with me. I don't care how you pay your rent. But you've got to follow the rules of my lease. My lease. If I did all those things, I'd be kicked out. But you cannot, and you, again, the disservice that you do to people when you give them too much leeway. You want them back in as respectable citizens. They probably were at one time. Get them back to that. Let them get that restored. Don't allow them to keep on doing this mess. Thanks for letting me share.
All right.
I'm first.
You're first.
And I've got to
I'm
leave in
a
5
strong
minutes.
proponent of people who have experienced homelessness going to classes and learning to live a normal life. Sometimes we put people who have experienced homelessness in a building and we walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And all they know is you drink your beer and you drop the can. People have to learn how to follow the rules. Some people are experiencing homelessness because they refuse to follow the rules. So, you move somewhere and there are rules. There's just,
Question
Well,
for
so-
everyone, real fast.
I'm frustrated by that, so I'm sorry.
So I just want to make a statement so that Janice both and all of us who are dealing with it, because it takes a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different scenarios that I came from a corporate, Covington and Burlington, and I learned my way through with dealing with people and listening to, and I also live it in Ward 2. So when I'm riding through the night, I talk to some, see the habits, you see people, again, you don't know what's on people's minds. The other thing is that rules, like you say, it's hard. You have some that have mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
I've dealt with that part also, and it as a personal thing I've shared with Robin. But there's also individuals who just won't follow the rules.
Right.
Then there are some who are mental and with mental abilities that need caring. So for one, I would say that coming together, what could be for the assessment of the caseworkers, for those who are just coming on the street, I've realized from working the past 6 almost 7 years now, that the individuals, you would see them first coming on the streets, you would see them, their capacity is normal. And after, I would say 6 to 9 months, you see them talking to themselves. So it could be that they already had a mental illness and they're self-medicating, and you don't know when that ticking time bomb could go off. But for just to assume that and then it could be someone who just withdrawn to feel like, I'm at rock bottom and there's nobody who's gonna help me.
So Eloise, forgive me,
Yeah.
but to the extent, this is a very interesting point of view that you've all brought up. And how would you suggest that we, as, library advocates and taxpayers and citizens,
I would
how
say
do
there's
we-
classes. I would say that people who seem stable, working with the caseworker to get groups together for workshops. These can prepare these people for jobs, even like you said, construction sites. There are people who are doing flags and things like that. It brings in money. That way they can go to like certain hotels or rented rooms, but then you also give them to say, go to this place that can prepare them for detox, not for drugs, but for mental capabilities, so that you can put them into society with everyone else.
I have a comment. Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
It's ironic that everything that everybody is saying, it's been said a million times before. And one of the things that I don't understand about DC is that a black man like me have been preaching this stuff for years, and they act like they don't even hear me. You talk about why people act like they do is because the way people are treated. You see, there is a lot of incompetency going on in homeless services in Washington, D.C. It's simple as that. And the fact of it is that you say all of these things, and nothing that anyone said up here is not something that people like me and other people have been telling the city for years. But the city has a thing of when it comes to a black man like me, they'll sit here and agree with me in these meetings, but as soon as this meeting is over, see you later. You see, DC has a problem with dealing directly with black men. And all black men aren't transgender. See, they want to put everybody into these categories.
Yeah.
And I
No,
gotta
forgive
go.
me.
And